right, today on the channel, we're going to take a look at Marvel's Chasm, which is basically alter ego or another version of Ben Reilly. Ben Reilly got submerged in the psychotic, whatever goo that he fell into and turned him into this guy. You know, he's kind of missing some of his memories. Some of his memories are twisted. And there's a whole plot line behind it. But essentially, that guy is this guy. But we'll get into that later. So I took a couple of shots with him. I played with him for a little while, and you guys saw at the beginning there. So let's go ahead and get into it. This particular line has two Ben Reillys, as we saw. I think it has a Daredevil. It also has Tarantula, a horrible Miles Morales, that Ben Reilly figure, and the Spider-Woman figure. Some of these have been a little bit controversial. And when I say a little bit, I mean quite a bit. I don't think the whole line is garbage. I think there's some redeeming qualities about it. But I also think there are some things that they could have done better. So, just taking a look at this Chasm. Well, let's, again, getting ahead of myself. Let's take a look at the packaging real quick. We got a picture of the comic book art for Chasm. He comes in the retro packaging, thick cardstock. On the back, you see a little blurb of him. There's his the goo, storyline or whatever with the truth tree or living tree. I don't know what it's called. Anyways, but here's another digital render of the figure, and here is the UPC if you guys might need it. So there it is. Like I said, I always buy two of these, one to fill up my wall and another one to open and to check out. So I'm not going to be keeping this. So, all right. Chasm. As a character, as a character, I think, I don't know a lot about him. As a design, I think it looks great. As a design of a character. But then again, I've always been a little bit biased towards like a purple and black color. I kind of dig the coloring. I kind of dig the suit. I've always dug the different symbiotes. He's not a symbiote. He's more of a, Spider-Man with extra psychic goo and abilities. I guess he's kind of like Blast there. He can shoot webs, but they're like goo webs or something like some kind of psychic web or something. I don't know. But he can still shoot webs, and he's got some extra powers in there as well. What do they call it? Offensive spidey sense. I guess it attacks you the minute you make up your mind to attack him. So, he's got some extra abilities that Spider-Man, kind of doesn't have. So I dig the figure. I dig the look. And yeah, so let's get into the figure. Again, we've seen these accessories before. We'll just cover these. This is the only thing he comes with. And we've seen these accessories before. This is just a different color. It's basically like like an aura or a smoky effect. We've seen it before. It's nothing new. He doesn't come with anything else. No Build-A-Figure parts, nothing. And he comes in at a full $25, $26 if you go pick him up at Target or wherever else you're gonna go. I wish he would have come with a thwipping hand. He doesn't come with that. He just comes with two fists. Fine. Overall, the figure feels fine. It doesn't feel too loose. It doesn't feel too wobbly. He's, to me, every joint had the right amount of tension on it, the right amount of give on it. I know we've seen this buck before. I know we've had it and we've seen it before. So there's nothing new here other than basically this is just a repaint. This is just a repaint, maybe a new head sculpt, but probably seen it before with something else, because it doesn't feel, well, he does have some indentation there, so some of it may be new. Maybe it was a blank head, and then they just kind of put this in. So does that count as a new sculpt? I guess, because he did sculpt it. But the rest of them, it's just paint. It's just paint, but it's a nice design. So. It's not like Hasbro's really pulling anything over our eyes. You can clearly see, that most of this figure is just going to be a different paint design. It's a bodysuit with different colors. That's all it is. So he's a spider person. Let's check him out. Let's check out the articulation. Like I said, nothing new here. same buck body that we've probably seen on a few other spider people before. I don't know what they call this body. The Vulcan body, the Pizza Spider-Man body. I don't know what it is, but we've seen it many times before. Let's look at the articulation real quick. You can look up that much, which is very acceptable. You can look down that much, which is very acceptable. He's got a ton of articulation in his head. He can definitely look all the way up, which is something that for a spider person, I 100% expect and demand. It really ticks me off when I don't get that. As far as the, let's see, he can look, he can't really do a lot of, and I'm really forcing it. He can't really tilt very much, so, but he can look all the way around, all the way around. So he does have a butterfly joint to the back. He can go quite a ways back. He can go quite a ways to the front. So he does have that butterfly joint, and it is very articulated. He also has, he can easily strike a T-pose. I've been messing with him quite a bit. So there he is, a pretty good T-pose. I would have liked it better than the T-pose, but that'll work. That's acceptable. Cut at the bicep, double jointed pinned elbows, and the fists go in and out. They're not the dice rolling, they're the in and out fists. He does not come with the cut up here. He's got a cut at the waist, and then he has a lot of crunch. He has that inverted joint down here, or just that diaphragm joint down here, which he can go up quite a bit and back quite a bit. Not as much as I'd like it, but still pretty good. No drop down hips. He can do the splits about that much. He is a spider person. I would have liked to see more than that, but that's fine. Acceptable. He can kick up that far, which is acceptable. He can kick back pretty far, which is that's pretty good. He's got a thigh cut there. He's got double jointed pinned knees, and he has a boot cut. Where doesn't he? Yes, he has a boot cut right there, and he has ankle pivot down and up. Pretty good articulation there. Wish I'd have gone up a little more with that, but that's pretty good. And he's got the little pinhole there. So ultimately, he's adequately articulated. Now, when I say adequate, I mean adequate for a spider person. There's been some comments, in the past. I've reviewed other spider people in the past, and I've actually, after I do my review, I will go back and watch, some other people do their reviews, see how close I came to them, or if we disagreed on a certain thing or not. A few people, kind of don't like this, have not liked these versions of Ben Reilly or the use of this buck. To me, this buck it's fine. If I was going to rate this figure right now, I'd give it like a 4.2, maybe a 3.9. It's really close to a fully adequate figure. I would say I'd give it a 3.9 just because of the lack of accessories, and it's nothing new here, right? If they saved all that money with sculpting, they could have given us a bunch of hands. I would have said at least 3 sets of hands, right? A thwip, an open hand, and a fist, and maybe some webbing effect made out of this stuff right here. That would have sealed the deal. I would have called it. That's fantastic. I'm okay with the articulation. Now, some people say, I've heard, some people say, hey, well, this articulation is junk. No, I don't think it's junk. I think it's adequate. I think it's wholly adequate. And I'm going to show you there's 2 iconic poses that I try to stage with every spider figure to see if they can hit them, because it's almost impossible to hit. If they can come close, they've done a good job. And it's this one and this one. I'm going to put them both up here. Those are the 2 iconic poses that Spider-Man should do. This, for the $25 that you get, you're not going to get that pose out of this. You could. I think Hasbro could do it. I think they could do it if they, maybe put a little bit more engineering into it. But here's a company that actually was able to pull it off. And you tell me, here, let me bring this over here so that you guys can, maybe he can stand a little taller up here. No, I have to be on that. And you guys tell me if this guy is $25. Do you know, look at the pose he's got. He can't hit that pose. He can't hit that pose. Oops, sorry, Ben. Stand him up a little better. You know who's the only person who can nearly hit that pose? This one. And he can't hit that pose because he's got to look all the way down to get that 3-point stance. This one cost, I want to say $33, something like that, for this Game Reverse Spidey. This one was 25 bucks, just like Chasm. And, you know, like I said, if this company went the extra mile and allowed us to hit, if you haven't played with a Sentinel Spider-Man, you're missing out, because he can do absolutely most of the poses, the absolute ludicrous poses that you see in comic books. You can get out of that. This guy costs 4 to 5 times as much as this guy, and this guy, and this guy. So, I mean, I'm probably going to get a lot of our, you know, a lot of arguing in the comments below. You know that, you know, still, I'm not making excuses for Hasbro. I think, you know, I think once they figure out how to do this body, they could start to push that body down into the rest of them. Now, if they tell, and if they tell us that, hey, this body just costs too much to do, well then, you know, you vote with your wallet, right? If you think that this guy is substandard, and here's the other thing I can guarantee you, you're never going to see this Chasm again. You just won't. It's just not in the cards to make this kind of, who knows about it? Other than us hardcore collectors, and even I barely know about this character. Which one of us is going to, you know, have our kids, you know, come up to us and say, I want a Chasm, Daddy. No, nobody knows about Chasm. This guy's probably going to peg warm. Nobody's going to know about him. They're going to know about Spider-Man. They're going to know about this version of Ben Reilly because he looks so close to Spider-Man. They're going to know about Chasm. All that to say, we know the level of articulation it takes, or the level of engineering it takes to reach that. And it's already been priced, and he has sold out several times over at that price. We're voting with our wallets. We're saying we want this level of articulation and we're willing to pay for this engineering at this price. We're also willing to pay a substandard cost for a substandard figure with substandard parts for this cost. So if you've got anyone to blame, it's us, because we vote for this. If we would say, you know what, we're not going to buy this Chasm. We're not doing it unless you give us, you've shown us you can do a really good body with this. We want this body. We want this to be the new standard, and I want it to go to that. And we're not buying any more of your stuff until you give us this. Hasbro would probably have no other choice. They'd have one or two choices. Go out of business or switch to that body and give us less junk. Or, I'm sorry, it's not junk, less collectibles. How about that? So, you know, yeah, maybe this is going to be a little bit of a controversial episode, and that's fine. I don't mind. But again, I would just ask you to consider, you know, I don't think this is a bad figure. I think it's fine. You know, I'm not going to poop on or anything like that. I'm satisfied with it. Like I said, I'm going to give it like a 3.9 out of 5. I always do it from 1 to 5. It's wholly adequate. When I said substandard, I meant, you know, they could have done this, but they gave us that. This body is substandard to this body. And even this body is according to us, 4 to 5 times substandard to this body. Because you all voted with your wallets. So ultimately, what do I think about this figure? Again, it's wholly adequate. Now let's get a couple of other figures up here that that we can have to compare him in size real quick. So here he is standing next to a Sergeant Slaughter. Sergeant Slaughter beats him. He's way bigger than him. Much taller than Chasm. There we go. Let's see, who else do we have over here? Let's take a Daredevil, put him next to it. They're about the same height. Perfectly the same height. Almost perfectly. So that's the way he stands next to him. And then finally, let's do a, maybe like gosh, let's do scrap iron, because that's what I have up here. So here's scrap iron next to him. So he stands like next to scrap iron. Chasm is a little bit taller, I think, just a hair, or they're about the same size. They're very close in size. Let's get the ruler out. He's about 6 1/4. There you go, 6 1/4 to my eyes. I don't know, maybe my eyes are bad. So ultimately, do I think he's worth it? I think he's worth it if you want a representation of Chasm. You probably won't see Chasm anymore because he's just not a sellable figure. He's a sellable figure to us that know about Spider-Man and know about the lore. And like I said, even I barely know about him. So he's going to be tough to sell out in the real world. He looks cool though, very nice design, but it's just paint and a buck body that they've been using, possibly some molding here in the head, but very minimal. I give it a 3.9 out of 5, again, because it's wholly adequate. He has some adequate articulation. It's not junk. It's not a junk figure. It's just a figure that we voted with our wallets for. That's what you get. We voted this guy 4 to 5 times better. We voted this guy. We refused, a lot of us refused to buy him because he was at that higher price point. He was 1.5 to 2 times. So what was he, like 30? So maybe he was 1 1/4 times. This guy was 1 1/4 time better than that guy. But again, only way to stop it is to vote with your wallets. If you don't like this representation of Chasm, then don't buy them. If you want more articulation, don't buy them. Vote with your wallets. If you don't want to pay that much for this level of engineering, let's not sell out Sentinel. But who are we to judge other people how they value what particular brand of Spider-Man that they want, or articulation that they want, or how to spend their money? That's just something that the market reacts to. So if people feel like they want to spend their money on that, then that's what they have every right to do, or that, or that. It just is what it is. The market's going to bear what the market's going to bear. So anyways, guys, tell me in the comments below if you agree, if you disagree, if you think I missed something. It's a 3.9 to me. It's an adequate figure. I'm not going to take a poop on it. It's fine. I would just say to all of you out there that continue to watch and support me, vote with your wallets. If you don't think that's appropriate, then, don't buy that particular figure. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you're so inclined. And as always, as long as you guys keep watching, I'll keep rolling it out.